What's up, everybody? So I thought I'd do a little bit of a haul ramble video here. I ordered some paint. Since contrast paints came out, I went ahead and made an order for some. Now I forgot to purchase the yellow paint, one of the contrast yellows. I get a nice vibrant yellow for Lamenters. I will be looking to pick that up eventually, sooner rather than later, to do a second Lamenters model with that. So that's a shame. It completely slipped my mind when I was looking at the paints to order. But with that said, I ordered also some normal paint, so I'm going to kind of go over the haul here, what I got. And it came in fancy little bags. Um, anyways, I'll go over what I got, maybe a little bit as to why, and things of that nature, and just kind of give a plan of attack for these once I'm done with my Sekhmet Terminator test model. I need to finish it. I did very, very minor painting to it, and I got to just buckle down and get some real painting in for it to finish it up, base it up, and get that model complete, because it's a cool model. Need to complete it so I can do more of them and other stuff. Anyways, so I won't be going crazy with this stuff right away. It's going to be kind of sitting in the wings waiting, but I will play with them and give my thoughts once I do. But yeah, so it'll just be a fun little ramble. So first up, I got some regular paints. These are layer paints, so Screaming Skull and Ushabti Bone. I got this to play around with this contrast paint here and maybe get an interesting Deathwing effect a bit easier than what I had in the past. I also kind of forgot how I did my Deathwing in the past, so kind of relearning here. And that's a good excuse to play with the contrast color that might work for them. However, Ushabti Bone, if you're gonna call one of your paints Ushabti Bone, GW, you have to have Tomb Kings come back. That's all I'm saying. I know this was around for a while, and the Tomb Kings were technically around when this paint did come out, but if you're going to continue calling it that, bring them back. That's all I'm saying. So with that said, the rest is contrast-related stuff. These are the two base colors, Gray Seer and Wraithbone, and I'll bring it up close. You can see there's a difference between the two, but they are pretty light. Celestial Gray could probably work in place of this if you have Celestial Gray. Wraithbone is an off-white, anything that you feel appropriate that way could work. I got them just because I figured this is what they're designed to go over. Not that you get bad results elsewhere. I'm sure you get just fine results, but I figured why not? I'll bite. I'll give my thoughts on these base coats. Also, they could be interesting base coats in general outside of using them, so you never know. Yeah, pretty bright though. One's going to give a cool color. The Gray Seer is going to be more of a cool, slightly darker result, where you're going to get warmer, brighter results to Wraithbone. So, could be fun to play with, because if you put one of these colors on both of these, you are going to get different results. Which can be something you do deliberately for an effect, going outside of the box of their traditional use, or it could be something to see which one you like better for the force you're doing. Does the Gray Seer base work better for you, or does the Wraithbone base work better for you? Anyways, those are the two base colors. I didn't pre-order. I basically went on the day they came out and ordered offline, because I wasn't able to make it to the local gaming store, and I've heard that that gaming stores weren't getting a lot in for whatever reason, potentially. I don't know, but I didn't pre-order. I did look to pre-order, but Gray Seer was listed, or was it Wraithbone? One of these two was listed as temporarily out of stock, and some of the colors were as well, which was very odd to me. Some of them still are. Maybe there is a legitimate lack of some of the colorations. Maybe not everything got the same amount of paint per batch. I don't know. But, tactics will be tactics when it comes to releasing stuff. It just seemed a bit odd for as heavily advertised these paints are, and for the fact that they're not limited run stuff, just seemed a bit weird to me. But anyways, with that said, those are your two base colors. This is your medium. You get a lot of it, 24 mils of it. It's milky, where the Lamy medium is clear. This is basically contrast paint without pigment. Yes, you can thin these down with water. You can thin standard paints down with water too. You can even use a little bit of water, and to me as weird acrylics, for example, but I use Tamiya's thinner on their stuff. I use Lamy medium when I'm going for certain results, otherwise I might use a bit of water. And I figured if they made a medium for this stuff, I might as well try it out and see how it is. Having used thinners and mediums in the past, they designed for the paints, they work great. They really do work great. So I'm foreseeing this also working great. Is it a necessity? Not really, but this thins down the color. It doesn't change the color, this thins it down, making it more and more transparent without overly diluting or over diluting the formulation and breaking down how it works. This can happen even with standard acrylic paints. You put too much just straight water into a paint and now it doesn't adhere properly or bind properly to the surface you're painting. It'll streak and pool. Not acting like a wash necessarily, but just for the sheer physics portion of not being able to stick. I mean, it takes a lot of water for certain paints for that to happen, but my point is, you can probably get away with some water. I mean, I'm gonna more than likely do that as well, but for specific effects, or if I'm making sure it's gonna act like it's supposed to act, I'm gonna use the medium and give see how it goes. So, that's just my personal take. I've used other medium type stuff in the past for other paints / special thinners for paints, and it's worked out well. So I don't foresee this having any problem. With that said, here are my 5 colors. I'll eventually get a yellow. I kick myself for forgetting to order the yellow. I'm not going to just order it by itself. One paint pot plus shipping is very not cost effective, so I'll just get it eventually. I really want to get a yellow for doing a little Lamenters model is why. But these 5 colors should be fun to experiment and play with. And this right here is Apothecary White. It doesn't look it from the top or the side. This is their Apothecary White. Now, having seen an example of one of their models painted in Apothecary White, I'm not expecting a pure white. But I am expecting something that's going to feel white, or more or less white, and then you go and you highlight up from there very easily to a nice crisp white with a cool blue shade in the recesses. Not everybody's looking for a white with a blue shade. I understand that. But it works out well and should be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to experimenting with this for doing maybe apothecary helmets or pieces of apothecary armor, because I don't do my apothecaries all in white. I do like their helmet and their arm piece and their backpack parts in white, and then the rest of it's still in their chapter color. But anyway, my point is, it could be fun for that. It could be fun for doing some experimentation on like power weapons or force weapon type stuff or other effects. So I have to wait and see when I eventually experiment how it goes and what other people do with this. But this could be a fun paint. From there, this is an orange. It doesn't look it, but it's orange. One of the things with these paints, and they tell you this when they in their advertising for the paint, is that it's not going to look like it dries on the model. It's going to dry on the model differently from how it looks. This doesn't happen that often with paints in the pots. Typically a paint in a pot, such as here, Ushavi Bowen, this is more or less how it's going to look when it dries on your model, provided it's not on a super dark base, or you do the appropriate amount of layers to have it happen. So contrast paints though look different in pot than they will be on the model, because how they're formulated to be a base and a shade and almost a quasi highlight at the same time. So that is unfortunate, because if you're just in the store browsing the paint selection of these things, you might not have the best idea of how it's going to look when dry, which is a shame. But because if you're on the shelf looking for in a shop looking for orange paint, and you come across this as orange, you're looking at it and you're going, that's not the orange I'm looking for, or doesn't seem very orange. And it supposedly will be once it dries on the model. Or even worse yet, you're looking for it to dry like this, and it won't, because it's the way it's formulated. This looks different in the pot. So what I will say is this: if you want to support your local gaming store and buy from them, that's totally cool. I pre-ordered these from GW. No, I didn't pre-order. I ordered on release day from GW for this, because I wasn't able to get to my gaming store for a bit and I didn't want to wait that long just to see them not have the colors I want. So I ordered from GW. I'm all for supporting your local gaming stores, but do some research online first. GW's storefront, when you look at the contrast paints, does show how it's going to look on a model. It shows it basically on a small little picture of a part of our Primaris backpack, and there it shows you it tells you what it's painted over as the base color, whether it's Gracie or a Wraithbone, and then it goes over how it's been highlighted up to get to parade ready, as they call it. So you can see, yes, this is the result I'm looking for this orange, so when I see it at my local gaming store, I can pick it up without problem. You know, theoretically anyway, right? So I just bring that up because these two colors do not look like they're going to be when they're dry. Same thing with here. This is not really a brown, this is Skeleton Horde. This is more of a bone color, something like a Deathwing, for example, or your Skeleton Hordes. But it looks really brown in here, overly brown. That's, again, due to the formulation of the paint. And they go over this. I'm not trying to advertise it or sell it for them. I'm just saying this because it's always a messy thing a bit if you're just at a game store and you don't know what it's supposed to look like when it dries, because you're not sure what color to pick then. Obviously, if you're looking for a blue, you're not going to pick up Skeleton Horde thinking it's going to work for you, but you also might not be sure how bright or how light of a color this will be when it dries. So you're not sure if it's going to be too dark for you. So that's why having examples of it painted on a model would be good, and GW's site does have that. So you can always check that out on your smartphone or at home, then go to your local gaming store and pick up the ones that you feel will work best for you. Just as a quick FYI. Black Templar is black paint. Black paint is black paint. I mean, it's not going to look any darker or lighter than black, but this should be fun to experiment with. I've seen some experimentation with this online already, and I'm eager to try my hand on it over a metallic base. I think this could be the way to go for doing how I want to do Heresy era Dark Angels, you know, Great Crusade era Dark Angels stuff. Could also be a great way to do Iron Hands, potentially a great way to do Angels of Vengeance, and whatever. So, could be a lot of fun right here in Black Templar. Now lastly, this is Dark Angels Green. This is meant to be Dark Angels Green for their green armor. Caliban Green works just fine as a base. What I'm really interested about for this is how it's going to work as a shade and a base color, because one of my issues I have with Caliban Green and even the old Dark Angels Green paint is when I go to shade it, either I can't really tell it's been shaded much at all, or in order to really tell, it overly darkens a lot of it, and then I go back in and then I kind of lose the effect of it being shaded. So I'm curious to see how this is going to work for me. For getting the Dark Angels Green base coat down and having it look like, yes, it's shaded darker into the recesses, and I can highlight it up on the raised parts. So should be some fun to play with there. So that's my plan of attack. This is for a DIY force. I'm always on the lookout for an orange. This could be my easy mode step for doing it, and if it is, I'll definitely be appreciative for sure. Anyways, the only thing I'm really missing here to play with is yellow for Lamenters, and then getting some random colors to do different effects, such as power sword effects or force sword effects or what have you. But that can always come in time. Anyways, I'm not going to then work on these paints the very next day or anything. I gotta finish that Segment Terminator when I have the limited time to do so. I really gotta buckle down and do that. So more to come on these paints eventually. I just thought I'd share with you what I got and why. Anyways, did you pick up any contrast paints? What did you pick up and why? Share in the comment section below. Anyways, thanks for stopping by and sticking through this. And until next time, take it easy.